everyone, welcome to another episode of the Stone Genius Podcast. My name's Roro. I'm the guy so nice my parents named me twice. That is not true. Either one of those statements. Neither one of the parts of those statements are true. So welcome to the podcast. You know me, I am often stoned. I'm always a genius. I'm going to try to do this with headphones. I'm going to try to do it with one headphone on, one headphone off, one ear on, one ear off. See, I don't know, man. I'm doing this because I am checking on the dog. They're out here with me. I'm doing this late in the evening, and they can be a little bit of a handful in the evening because they like to whine. Welcome to the podcast. Let's see, what do we got? Big changes are coming. I don't know why I'm going to do it, but I am going to do it. I believe, I do not believe, I know that this Thursday we'll be attempting the first video podcast of the Stone Genius Podcast. Actually, that may have needed this instead. We're going to see how it goes. First of all, I don't understand why it's a podcast. To me, it's like radio. Why are you watching it? I literally am doing nothing. You may see me pick up my bong every once in a while and smoke it. Other than that, I'm literally doing nothing. Sometimes glaring at my dog. Now, the only part of video that I am excited about is the fact that I will be able to see my guest remotely. Because often I want them to be able to see my facial reactions. That's what I wish. And I can play off them. It is fun to have someone here in studio/living room. But that can't always be done. Let's see what else. So I'm going to jump. I have so many pages of notes. I keep talking about it. I'm never going to get to it, but I'll get to it. So the video podcast, I don't even know what it's going to be about. So I feel like it should be about whether... See, I don't want to do... Every time I see video, I see someone that's done it and they change. Their demeanor changes, their tone changes. Something about them changes, and I don't like that. I just don't know why it needs to be video. I get it. I mean, it needs to be video, so that's what the masses want. Especially so it can be dissected up into little 10-second, 30-second, whatever clips so that people can digest that. Because that's what their attention span allows them to do. So we're going to attempt this. So Tim Lytell, producer, friend of the show, movie producer, award-winning movie producer, writer, director. Tim Lytell will be back on the program, and I asked if he would be my first to do video like this, and he accepted. I don't think he knows exactly what he's in for. I just want someone to say, push this button, that's it. I know, I don't. That's just not how this brain works. Don't want to. If it sounds like I'm saying it's beneath me, yes, I'm saying that pushing the record button is beneath me. Just kidding. Let's see. So I made some new notes. So I was going to go to the new notes. And I'm going to start with the newest note that I wrote, Trevor Bauer. So if you don't know who Trevor Bauer is, he was a Major League Baseball pitcher that was suspended. I believe it was the longest suspension. I don't know. It was a long suspension. And it was because he supposedly choked a girl during sex. Now, he said that it was consensual. Some people like to be choked. Okay? Who are we to judge? You probably need a safe word. And you have to know that sometimes that line is going to be, the safe word might be said, and then there may be some testing. Anywho, anyhow, anyway, he was suspended for a long time, and it just came out. So he hasn't been able to talk much about everything. Well, it came out, a whole bunch of new texts and things, how she actually targeted him. Here's the thing. If you're going to target someone, don't tell people about it. I know you think you're great, but you're going to end up losing. And then saying exactly what they were going to do. So I just love that when accusers falsely accuse when they know that there's damning information out there. Now, if you falsely accuse someone and there's no damning information against you, you just made that accusation. You made up the accusation, but you haven't told anyone that you made it up. In fact, you try to make it believable. The next day, you try to do everything that you would to make your accusation hold some weight. That's crazy. So I think it's perfect that someone. I mean, when you say that you're going to target a specific person, it's just crazy. So you can find a YouTube video on that on YouTube. It's pretty good. I've enjoyed watching Trevor Bauer. He is playing in Japan, or played the season in Japan, so I've been watching his videos. It's pretty interesting as he navigates the Japanese culture, Japanese baseball. I believe it's very different from what I've seen, at least with a show. Very different. Not the actual game style itself, but the approach to the game and some other things like that. Very different than how we approach it here in the United States. So, that being said, it's pretty good. So, anyway, let's see. Let's stay on sports. Let's talk about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So, I'm in Kansas City, but I am not a Chiefs fan. I do think it's interesting how, even if people say they are anti Taylor Swift, like, they sure spend a lot of time talking about that person, like an inordinate amount of time of talking about that person. So I do think that's funny. An old clip popped up and it said, Travis Kelce says if a girl won't sleep with him by the third date, it's a deal breaker, and everyone lost their mind. I wouldn't say mine was a first date, but rarely did I ever see a girl a second time. Now, Bobby and I know that the name of the podcast is The Longest One Night Stand with Bobby and Roe, but we did not have sex that first night. She had a little too much to drink, especially near the end of the night. It caught up to her, so she came home with me, and then I took her to work the next morning. Hold on. That was weird. There we go. So I took her. Anyway. I've talked about, we need to talk about that too. So we've talked about body count and things like that. Anyway, Bobby went home with me, and I will just say, in most of them, so here's the funny thing, because he regarded it as a date. I would say, to me, it was just a physical interaction. It was like playing basketball, but it was like playing one-on-one, but it was a different kind of sweaty I was getting, and I didn't need a court, a ball, things like that. I had 2 balls. So a lot of times it was more... the one that always pops into my head is the beginning of... what was it called? It had Matthew McConaughey in it. It was about AIDS and $1 million something club. It was about where they would get prescriptions to help people that had AIDS that couldn't get it otherwise and things like that. But like one of the very first scenes was Matthew McConaughey. I think he's with 2 girls actually underneath some stands at a rodeo. That would be more typical of. So a date would be that would be like a euphemism. If I said, and I did use that before, So so some people didn't believe that I lived the lifestyle quite that I did. So my friend Mitch used to always call bullshit on that. So one day, I three-wayed him in on a call. Let's make sure I say call. I'm three-wayed him in on a call. He was actually Chicago, Memphis. I don't know where he was going to school at the time. And so and so it was funny because all I said was, would you like to go on a date tonight? And she laughed and she goes, when have we ever gone anywhere? And then Mitch laughed. So remember, this is like early 1990s technology. Like fax machines were still like thermal paper, the type that receipts are printed on, that roll up and things like that. That's the technology we were dealing with. So I make a statement, she laughs, makes a statement, and then he laughs, and he's not supposed to be on the line. She doesn't know that. And so she asked what that was, and I think I said, I don't know what I said. I probably ignored it. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, unless someone, what was that? What? Because sometimes they'll be like, what was that? Well, if you can change the topic quickly and effectively enough, they never circle back to that question. So date was a euphemism, and I have no problem. So now we're going to tie that into, I have to go all the way over to this other note. And if you hear a little click there, it's because I have a light. I'm doing this not in the dark, but in limited lighting. And so I do have a light on my boom arm that I attach, but I have to turn it on and off. Otherwise, it'll run out because it is battery operated. And heaven forbid it lasts an entire show. So on Club Shay Shay, which is Shannon Sharpes' podcast, Brittany Renner, who I don't know who Brittany Renner is, BrittanyRenner, Brittany Renner. I think this is Instagram, but I'm not positive. At Brittany Renner. So BrittanyRennerr. Club Shay Shay, and then at Shannon Sharp. And then they're using the hashtag racist36. So the deal was she was on, and she's like an influencer or something. I don't know exactly what she is. I personally have never heard of her. That doesn't mean anything. So I've never heard of this person, but she's on Club Shay Shay, whatever it's called, talking to Shannon Sharp, who, as we all remember, was the second best receiver in his family. Hey, Sterling. And so she was on this program, and for some reason the topic came up to her body count, and she said that she had slept with 35 men. And Shannon Sharp lost his fucking mind. Now, I will say this. Shannon Sharp is ugly as shit. I mean, he is not a good-looking human being. I mean, that is one, like if people talk about blessings from God, he may be blessed in many other ways. Looks was not one of his blessings. So I'm sure to someone who has that physical appearance, even though that you would think that if you're a multi-million-dollar sports star that you should have people throwing themselves at you, he may see the number 35 and see that as being big because he's Shannon Sharp. So here's the deal. His reaction was so over the top. First of all, he took a shot. So they were doing shots. There was alcohol there. So he did a shot when she said it. And then he just grabbed the bottle and did a shot out of the bottle. Like he was just flabbergasted that she had slept with 35 people. Now, I'm not going to say it hit the 35 within a month's time because I don't ever remember sleeping with two different people in the same day. That being said, 30-31 wouldn't have been outside the realm of possibilities with me back in the day. So I do think it's funny. You know, all she has to do is sleep with a different person for the next 4 years straight, and she will catch up. Not that it's a race, although they are using the hashtag race to 36. So if it is a race, then maybe it should be the race to 1353. I don't know what the number is. Somewhere in that neighborhood, 1350 something. I will use that. So I will tag Club Shay Shay, Brittany Renner, Shannon Sharpe, and I will have it the race to 1,352 or 3. I think it'd be 3. Because I think when my wife and I, when we did the math, I allowed her to give me the numbers. We did the math, and I believe it ended up being a round number. I don't know why. It just did. So anyway, that, and here's the other thing. Like, it's hard for me to listen to Shannon Sharpe because I've heard the term eat a bag of dicks. And it sounds like he actually did that, but hasn't swallowed said bag of dicks yet. He is not an eloquent speaker. And I get it. I'm a guy who forgets mid-sentence what I'm talking about. I totally get it. Okay, let's see what else we got. Let's stay in the sex realm for a minute. The Golden Bachelor. So first of all, I said that we're doing a video. We're doing the first video podcast. Tim and I have had, let me rephrase, strike from the record. I have had a very difficult time trying to select. So what we were going to do is like watch a movie together or something and then comment on it. If you're old enough, you'll remember Mystery Science Theater from like the 90s. I don't know if it was redone, but it is. We were thinking something maybe in a similar vein that we could both use our intellect and wit and timely sarcasm to do that. And we've bantered. I mean, we've talked about Steven Seagal movies. We've talked about Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. I mean, we've talked about some cream of the crop movies. Moonfall, which is always one of mine that I want to talk about. Shark Side of the Moon, that's one that we should really do. Because we both know, well, he knows Maxie. I've talked to Maxie. So anyway, I can't even decide. See, this is why I need a producer or something. So just tell me this is the show that we're going to do. You are going to be recording on Thursday at 3 p.m. with Tim, and your subject is blop. I don't even know what blop is, so that wouldn't actually be the subject. But the subject would be fill in the blank, whatever that would happen to be. So Golden Bachelor. So the reason that I went, so I was watching the Golden Bachelor when Tim and I were back and forth, and Bobby watched the Golden Bachelor, and she said, "You need to watch this show." And I was like, okay. And I'm not a big Bachelor guy to begin with, but sometimes it's funny, especially the more, it's just interesting, the relationships and the cattiness that can happen. I do enjoy that part of it. So I'm watching this, and it's called The Golden Bachelor because the gentleman that they selected is in his hundreds. No, I have been told by myself that is incorrect. I believe he's in his 70s. Does that make it better? Probably, maybe not. I don't know. Anyhow, anyway. So Golden Bachelor, and so I'm watching the first episode, and he has a story about his wife that he'd been married to for so long. They were going to retire. Some things went on, and very, very sad. I mean, I would be devastated if that's how Bobby and I played out. So he's looking for love, and these women are getting out of the car. And the first woman that gets out of the car, she just has silver hair. Very pretty. She looks elegant. She's dressed in a nice dress, and she's fit for someone her age. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking fit for someone her age. And then I find out her age is 4 years older than I am. Yeah. So I was like, that didn't register for a minute. So what happened was, I just turned 56 within the last week of recording this episode. So I just turned 56 years old. I think I look pretty good for 56. I always say I don't look a day over 55. Well, I used to say so I always say I don't look a day over the year before I am. So that's where the humor lies. So I'm saying I look younger, but only 1 year younger. Anywho, anyhow, anyway. I'm watching these ladies get out, and some of them are crazy. Like, some of them I think are just so, like, they've been by themselves for a while. I don't know. I didn't really pay that much attention to them talking, because these are old people. I mean, what I thought was to be old. And there were some, I don't know how many women, in the teens, I think. I don't think it's 20, but probably in the teens amount of women is how many were on the show. And I would say at least half of those women, I am closer to their age than I am Bobby's age. I'm going to do that twice. I feel like I should even do it more times than that, but I will not do it more times than that. But hold on. So I start watching this, and they're like, oh, this person's 60, and then 62, 61, 63. And then I'm thinking, like, then those numbers are starting to ring, because usually I don't even think about my age, but I just had a birthday. And so I'm like thinking about my age, and I'm like, hold on. I'm like doing the math real quick. I'm like 56, 60, 56, 49. And then I'm like 56, 62, 56, 49. Oh, this. And I will say that I am very well aware that in your 50s, you could have a more rapid appearing aging process than maybe earlier on. Like, you can go through your 30s and you don't really notice that much difference. I mean, you may start to get some gray hairs at the end of your 30s that you didn't have at the beginning of 30s. So anyway, so if Bobby ever wants to know why I would never, if something happened to her, I would never find someone else, it's because those are the people that are out there. And here's the deal. Once again, I have said that, like, with the Whitakers, that they're not the most inbred family in America. I just find that hard to believe that the video is representing the most inbred. I would hazard a guess that they may not even be the most inbred person in their holler. I don't know. Wherever they live. Hollow. I don't know what it's called. What do I look like? A genius? So here's some notes I wrote during the Golden Bachelor. The first one was, where do I start? Obviously, age. That's where I'm starting. Because the Golden Bachelor, I shouldn't be closer to the Golden Bachelor's age than I am my wife's age. I mean, that makes me almost a golden, not bachelor. But I don't want Bobby to be like, it's my golden husband. That doesn't sound good. Unless golden is followed quickly by the word shower, then that's probably not best. So let's see. Some of the contestants. Oh my gosh. So here's a note. I will tell you, I had been smoking marijuana. That is a drug. I was smoking marijuana while listening to the show. I was really listening and not watching. But here's my note. I need light for this. Some contestants on The Golden Bachelor have STDs that are older than The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. And here's another question. I'm going to do this in advance. I assume that adult diapers come in thongs. I mean, I wasn't paying attention. We stream it. I can't even remember if there were commercials. I turned it on and I kind of turned away. I was working on other things. I was not paying really attention to it. I was just trying to pay enough attention that if something just insane came out, that I would be like, oh, I should listen and pay attention to that one. But I would, like, if they were sponsored by an adult diaper or Spanx or something like that, it would not surprise me in the least. This episode of The Golden Bachelor brought to you by Spanx. Can't fit into your old pants anymore, use Spanx. So I could totally be a pitch man. Let's see. And then I should have led with this. I did put, I am closer to those women's ages than I am Bobby. I'm not going to push the button again, but that is sad. And I don't want to see a thong adult diaper. I don't want to see an adult. Here's the thing. As someone who eats my wife's ass, I would assume that there may be a chance or a day that she will need an adult diaper, just like I will, I'm sure. I will reach that time much quicker than she will. And probably not just because of our age difference. Anyway, one of my favorite things for Bobby to do, one of the sexy things to do is when she wears like a short skirt dress, something that is easily pull-uppable. Not pull-downable, pull-uppable. So, you never know when you're going to be hanging out and you go, let's go in this bathroom real quick and knock one out. You never know when that's going to happen. And you should be prepared. If you're going to be always be prepared for a threesome or orgy, you should totally always be prepared to just go at it. That being said, I do not want to go to town on someone that has been stewing in. Once again, there are certain times that I have said golden showers would be appropriate for me if I am very cold. Now, not if if I'm in the house and I'm cold, like if you were over hanging out. I don't know why that would happen because that's never happened with me before. I have someone just hang out probably. Let's say you did. Let's say you win the lottery and you're over here hanging out with me. And I say, I'm a little cold. Like I'm going to go get a sweatshirt or something. That is not carte blanche for you to get up and pee on me. Now, if our plane is crashed in the middle of Alaska and we are freezing to death and you need to pee, I have said I don't want you to waste that warm urine, or as I like to say it, that warm golden urine. I didn't really think. I thought I was going to have something better to say in my quick witticisms. I did not, sadly. But if there are times where you can pee on me. So the golden shower part, but don't just think because I say, like if I'm outside and the temperature drops, like if it was like 85 and it's like, oh, this feels really good. And then it drops to 70 and I'm like, oh, I wish I had a long sleeve shirt. Don't pee on me. I mean, at least ask first. I'm not going to 100% say don't pee on me. Like if Bobby wanted to pee on me, I would probably let her. Like if it seemed like she wanted to pee on me, not just doing it as a medical, almost like a medical procedure for me by peeing on me to keep me warm. If she like just, I would be like, okay, whatever. That's fine. I mean, it's hot out. It's still 90 degrees in Kansas the 2nd of October, but go ahead. Pee on me. I mean, can you wait a little while until the sun goes down? Okay, go ahead and just do it then. Go for it. Let's see. What else? See, my light's already running out. Oh, I'll go to the flashlight. That's what I'll do. Let's see. Let me talk about my birthday real quick. So I am adopted. I've mentioned that before. I have met my birth mom, my half brother, half sister, my nieces and nephews, blah, blah, yada, yada. So that is all great, fine, and dandy. I don't know if this is 100% accurate, there could be a lot of reasons why. Because I know that our daughter Mo is much like me when it comes to birthdays, I believe. So, and they weren't adopted. Although they really probably wish they were at some point, they weren't. Bobby and I were both there, and then you look, and that's Bobby, and she has my nose, and quite frankly, Mo has my attitude. So there is no, I wonder what's going on there. But when you were adopted, your birthday doesn't mean anything to anyone. I mean, I was there on my birthday, but I was being born, so I don't remember it. No, it doesn't mean anything. So, like, let's take Mo. That was our first child. Now, we actually did not do a baby reveal. We didn't even have the doctor reveal it to us. We wanted it to be, so we didn't know, boy or girl. We were ready. We didn't know what we were going to have, but we were ready for Bobby was ready. I think after the fact, I proved to be ready, but no one was going into that situation going, this is going to end up well. It did, but no, and rightly so. I'm not upset about that. When someone says, I can't believe you guys have made it for 27 years, people knew me before I met Bobby. I am not the same person that I was before I met Bobby, which is good. But that being said, I wouldn't get mad at someone for whatever. But when you're adopted, so like we did not find out what Morgan was going to be. Mo was actually born on her due date. She was due on the 27th of November, 9.5 months after we met. And Bobby went into her water broke at 4 a.m. that morning. We got to the hospital about 4 p.m. Let's say 4:20 is when Mo was born. It was right in that neighborhood. It was about 12 hours after her water broke before she went into labor and gave a couple pushes, and then we had a daughter. That being said, we didn't know until she came out that we were having a son-daughter. We had a daughter. So I go down, and my mom was in the waiting room. She had been there most of the day. We called at 4 o'clock in the morning to say we were on our way to the KU Medical Center, which is where we went here in Kansas City. And so it's 4 a.m. and I go, once we get closer, I'll call you and you can head down that way. Well, we get to the hospital. We had just gotten to the hospital, and my parents didn't live that much further away than we did. We lived out in the suburbs, drove downtown to KU Med, and my mom got there not too long afterwards, and she's like, I wasn't going to be able to sleep. And then shortly thereafter, once the sun came up and things, her best friend, Mrs. Kaler, and her husband, I think, George, Skip, is what George went by, they showed up. So they were there. So Morgan was born. I go down. So we have a story. So water breaks. We go to the hospital. Bobby and I actually just recently, when we went to the Cupcake concert, we drove through the intersection that I ran a red light. I hope the statute of limitations has expired on that. So we get there and, it's 4:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it was. So our water broke at 4. So about 4:30 in the morning, 4:15 in the morning, we're in downtown, and I think it was, I don't know what street it was. So anyway, get off the highway, and we get to a light. It's red. No one's there. Remember, it's 4:30 in the morning. No one is out. Like, I think there are a lot more people out now in the middle of the night than there were back then. I think there's more things to do, more third shift, more things being open. But this is 1996, and I'm looking, and I just said, I'm going to run it, and if there's a cop, they can follow us to the hospital. And so we go, we get to the hospital. So we have that part of the story. We even started. We always joke that we never got to finish the movie Biodome with Pauly Shore. So we were watching that movie. Bobby had actually worked on the 26th. She was a bartender, no less. She worked all the way up till close that night, like 11 or 12, I think she actually worked. And then came home, and then a few hours later went into labor. So we have all these stories about the day that Morgan was born. Same with Trinity. So here's the story with Trinity. So the way that typically we have run our house is that Bobby did a lot of the inside stuff. I did a lot of the outside stuff. Not everything. Like I still vacuum and help clean and do things inside the house, and Bobby helps outside the house. And now we're in an apartment, but we were in houses for many, many years. And so that was kind of what it was. Bobby or me, whoever cooks, the other person does the dishes. And that's just kind of how we've always done things. So I remember a Monday, I come home for lunch at work. Bobby's pregnant. She is 7 months pregnant at this time. Remember, a full term is 9 months. She's 7 months pregnant at this time. And I get home and she's on the phone. Now she's in our bedroom on the bed. And remember, this is 2002 and May of 2002. So technology still wasn't super advanced. A lot of people still had home phones. And I don't know if you're familiar, the audience here, with a home phone. They were generally tethered to a wall or an outlet connected to a wall. So you couldn't just roam around. I mean, there were cordless phones, but not everyone had. So she's sitting on our bed in our bedroom. And I come in, I do stuff. I'm home for lunch and she's just sitting there. And I go, who are you on the phone with? And she goes, oh, the doctor's. I go, why? And she goes, well, I started having contractions. And I'm like, how far apart are they? And she says something ridiculous, like 90 seconds or something. Like something that, like the reason that the person wasn't on the phone is I believe that they may have passed out. Or as soon as she said, oh, my contractions are 90 seconds apart, there was a, what are you doing there? I think the person may have fainted or went to ask, like, would a person, like, does this, because the story doesn't sound right. Like, I know that was the story. Like, that was the literal story. But if you were hearing that story, you'd be like, well, that doesn't sound right. People aren't people don't mow and then the next day sit on the phone. And that's just not how that works. So, with contractions that close together. So anyway, we found out. So then we took Bobby to the hospital and then spent the night there. So Morgan was young. So then we had to figure. So this is 7 weeks early. So I'm like 6.5, 7 weeks early of her due date. So May 1st as opposed to June 10th. I always want to say June 9th because that's so much better, a 6'9" baby. But her little due date was 6'10". I was just hoping for a 6'9" baby. I mean, that's just birthday 6'9". Everyone's gonna laugh. Even if people have something stuck up their ass, they're still gonna laugh at that if that's your birthday, or be like, they'll probably blame you for it. Ugh, 6, really? Yeah, I was born on, or international, I was born on September 6th. So getting back to, I think I well got away from the point that I was trying to make, is that when you were adopted, you don't have any birthday stories. We have stories about the day that Morgan was born. We have stories about the day Trinity was born. They're ingrained in with us. Bobby has her version. I have my version because they were they were vastly different viewpoints that we were having. So of course our stories will be a little bit different too, but everything that went, just from her standpoint, not like, she's not going to say like, oh, well, I gave birth to a bike, and I'm like, no, you gave birth to her. It's not, so our stories aren't that different, but just a little bit different viewpoint. But we have those stories of the day they were born, leading up to the day they were born. Well, my parents being adopted, now I was unexpected. So I guess that, I don't know, especially in 1967, I probably should figure this out talking to my mom. I don't know how the whole process worked. Meaning from the time that you kind of are like, oh, we want a child and we've been approved for a child, like, how does that work? Because I think that with my sister, that when they were approved, I guess that's how it is, when they were approved for adopting a child, I think it was quite some time, over a year before they got a call saying that there was a child for them. I think with me, now this is just the story that I've heard, and the stories of my adoption have changed. I mean, initially I thought that I came home with them at about 3 weeks old. At some point, my mom threw out there that it was 6 months. So I don't know where I would have been during those 6 months. I wish I knew of the name of the X-Men school, and if it's called the X-Men school, then I'll feel really dumb. But I feel like maybe that's where they sent me, and that's where I got my super genius or my evil genius, either one. So there's been some varying stories about even when I came home, like how close it was to my birthday. So there's stories like my parents, and so I just always knew that I was adopted. I think I've talked about this before on the program, and my parents told me this, and I always thought it was weird, but they said they were told the day they picked me up and brought me home that on the way home that they explained to me that I was adopted and what that meant and things like that, which I think is a very grown-up and awesome thing to do. Hold on. And it could just be me, my deficiencies, my shortcomings, or however I process information. But I just always knew there was never a time where I was like, what? Like I was talking to my birth mom, Linda, and I want to have her on the program so I can find out those stories about my birthday. I just found out that I was born at 11:30 p.m. So, most of my birthday I spent thinking that it was actually, I was 56 already, but I wasn't. So what I could have done is had sex with Bobby a couple other times as a 55-year-old just to get those in. Stumbled over my words there. Anyway. So I didn't turn. So like I have story. Here's another story that I learned that in that time frame in 1967, you were not supposed to. And I don't know if it's still the same, if you're putting the child up for adoption, you're not supposed to hold them or see them, that they take them away immediately. Well, she says that both she and her mom, my grandmother, both held me briefly before they took me away. So, I mean, I've never even thought about it until I just say that. How is that? I mean, how is that? I mean, like, that's something you've carried. I don't know how that feels. I couldn't imagine. I'm trying to remember, we've had puppies before, but I was young and my disconnect with everything, I don't know. I mean, it would be like if someone came and tried to take our dog away from us, I mean, so there's so many things I don't even know about my own birthday. And I think that probably somewhere back in my mind is probably why I'm not that huge on birthdays. They just don't mean anything because I don't have any tactical memories like I do with our kids' birthdays. And I'm sure that Bobby's parents have with her birthday. Let's see. What else do I have? Oh, how much power do I have left on this light? And I should... Travis Kelce. Let's see. What else do I have? Chiefs, Travis Kelce. Okay, so some quick things real quick. This is 2023, so school is just now starting here in the United States again. It started a couple months ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. So 40 years ago would have been my sophomore year in high school. Now, in our high schools here in the United States, at that time, it was a 3-year high school. Most of them, in fact, even our high school, the year after I left, went to a 4-year, including 9th grade or freshman year, which used to be in a junior high, at least in our setup. You would go K through 6, 7 through 9, 10 through 12, and then whatever university after that. So 40 years ago, I was having a lot of firsts. I had my first girlfriend, my first car. So I was lucky. I guess you can say lucky. I was lucky with the ladies. Well, always lucky with the ladies. So my birthday's the end of September. School, at least back in that day, typically didn't start till after Labor Day. So like the first week of September is when school would typically start, as I remember. So my birthday was within the first month of school. So my sophomore year in high school, I was turning 16 earlier than a large percentage, well more than half my class. I was turning 16 before they were, which meant I could drive. Now, there are very different rules, I believe, for youngsters driving now, that you have to be a certain age before you can have passengers and blah, blah, yada, yada. It was a free-for-all back then. As soon as my 16th birthday, let's pack as many people in the car as we can, because it doesn't matter. We don't need seatbelts. I mean, we have them, lap belts, but we're not gonna use them. I mean, why? It was 1983. So I had in my first car, a 1984 Volkswagen. No, excuse me, a 1974 Volkswagen Rabbit, red. Wish I had that picture. That'd be a good one to put out with this post. So I do have I remember my parents have a picture of me. I have the door open. I'm about to step in, and I have the keys. I'm holding the keys up. If I didn't have I'm thinking back to Morgan when she first started driving to school. So we were lazy. She did drill team, which for Mo, she had to be there 3 o'clock in the morning. It was not that early, but it really seemed like it was close to being that early. So as soon as she was 12, we said, you can drive. Here's a car. Enjoy yourself. Don't hurt yourself or others. And so we have a picture. I remember we have a picture of her standing in front of the car. But see, here's the deal. If I see that picture, I immediately see that picture and I remember, wow, that's her first day driving to school by herself. I think she was 15 at the time, maybe 14. Anyway, so she's driving to school, but we knew the picture of her standing in front of her first car, which RIP Trusty Rusty. Hold on, do I have something for that? I don't. Hold on. That's not it. Nope. Anyway, so it was an old Jeep. I don't even remember the year. It was a straight 6. Man, my parents so we bought it. We thought it was a very good deal. We were so excited about the purchase. And then it needed, we took it to get the oil change and just some things initially, and our mechanic was like, you should have brought it to me first. We did not. So, and my parents were like, well, we want to help. So they literally spent probably $5,000 just bringing it up so it literally was safe for her to drive. And all of it, I don't know. I'm probably exaggerating on multiple fronts there. It probably was safe enough to drive, and it probably was not $5,000, but those numbers sound better. So what we will do is we will continue to push forward with those numbers. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so we get there's a picture of Morgan in front of Trusty Rusty, and we're like, boom. So we just know. I mean, we know what it is, and she did not have to have the door open and hold, because the door open, I could have still been. I don't know what's going on. Is she just getting a Kleenex out of her car? But because I was holding the keys, and especially on my right hand, because here in America, that's the side it's the right side of the steering wheel where you put the key. And I know that there are probably some youngsters asking what a key to a car is right now because of keyless and fobless and blah, blah. A key is, anyway, put it in the ignition. Think about a penis going into a vagina. That's what a key is going into ignition. So the key is the penis, boom, goes into the hole, the ignition, vagina, boom, and then it starts, okay? So you would not have known, had I not been holding that key in my right hand, what I was doing with the car. So I'm glad that my parents, while not professional photographers, they were at least astute enough to properly pose me so that one would know exactly what I was doing in that picture. So that's, I can't say enough. Really. Okay, let's see. I do have a surprise also. So if you're like me and you're like, why would you do a video podcast? I don't know. It seems to be what the people want. I am rarely that person that gives people what they want, but evidently I'm going to try it this time. And we'll see how it works out. Let's see. Blueberry pancake is my latest strain. So here's what it's gone the last 3 strains. Honey buns, B-U-N-Z. Honey buns, yes. Definitely, yes. RS11, which was Rainbow Sherbet 11, definite yes, without hesitation. Probably rank it above honey buns, although it would be a 1-1A type situation. They are not very far apart. And then right now I'm doing blueberry pancake. And I have written down, I will tell you the technical term. If you are not into drugs, especially marijuana, you may not understand this term. You will be able to Google it. I will spell it for you. It is, for blueberry pancake, meh. M-E-H, meh. That's how I feel about that one. It's not bad, but it's all right. Here's random notes as I tie up this show. And this, I'm just going to read basically what I wrote down. Because if I remember it, I will let you know. I put me being nice equals manipulation in progress. Oh, that's nice. That'd be a good t-shirt. If I'm being nice to you, it's either to, most likely, not in all instances. I don't want everyone to think I'm just some out of control freak, because I'm a very in control freak. Anyhow, anyway, if I'm being nice to you, it's either I am trying to get information from you, which I will use to my advantage at some point. I don't know how yet. I will figure that out at some point. Or I am currently in the process of manipulating you. Because here's the thing. If you compliment people on the little things, the little details, but if you compliment those things, that's what someone could wear a big, a bright blouse or top or pants or something like that, but then may have very, their nails may be very subtle. And you mention the nails. You don't mention the loud. Everyone sees that. People, oh, I love your jacket. Oh, I love your shoes. That's what people. So what you do is you focus on the little things. But when you're doing that, you can also manipulate people. That's another t-shirt. I need to make a book of the t-shirts that I'm going to have, and then we'll have a website that will have all these for sale, because I know Christmas is right around the corner, and who doesn't want Stone Genius merchandise? Well, that seems a little rude. Let's see. Here's one. So if you want to know, is it only when I'm doing a show that I lose my train of thought? Sometimes it is mid-sentence. So, because I know there is more than this, and it still hasn't come back to me. But I wrote, sometimes I see myself, and that's all I wrote. Maybe that's what I meant. Maybe sometimes I see myself. Like I can exit my body and literally see myself. That's already passed. What is that? Oh, yeah. So, there was a movie out with Shaquille O'Neal and Nick Nolte called Blue Chips, where there were some illegal payments and stuff, trying to get Shaquille O'Neal, a high school guy, to go to whatever school, the blue and yellow, whatever the name of that school was. So one of the notes I made was blue chips in the NIL phase, because I wonder with name and image likeness right now and how much money these youngsters can make, I would like to see a movie that would detail that, because at University of Florida, they had a big blow up. They were actually going to pay a 5-star high schooler, because he hadn't played in college yet, high schooler like $13 million over 4 years, which, just so everyone's aware, that was more money than the top quarterback drafted in the NFL was going to make over that 4-year period, which is just ridiculous. Like this whole, it's insane the amount of money that, first of all, that these kids are getting paid, and secondly, that boosters have this kind of money to just throw at, I don't know. That's fine. Let's see. What else do I have? So this has to do with two things. I'm going to skip that. We'll come back to it. So GOP versus Hunter Biden. So they have Hunter Biden on gun charges, which I just wrote down. That has to be a tough pill to swallow for the GOP. I mean, because often the GOP likes a lesser amount of gun control, gun regulating laws. And so for them to have to finally settle on him illegally buying or owning a gun as someone who's under indictment, that I think that's a kind of ironic, especially because it doesn't matter. So there's more to that story. So then to jump to the very last thing, and the notes, and I'm going to tie it in because I saw this the same day or the day after. I wrote down the UAW strike. It's 2023. Do picket lines still work? Question mark. Now, our beautifully intelligent youngest child, Trinity, pointed out, or maybe it was Bobby, or maybe it was both of them, pointed out that they may have to do that to get money from the union while they're on strike. They may be required to picket. My thing is, you standing out on a picket line, the only people that are going to see that are people that are driving into the factory. I mean, most of those factories are not on major thoroughfares where people are just driving by. So if that's the case, then who are they picketing for? Is it the bigwigs? And, if it's a remote plant, then it's not even the biggest of the bigwigs. All you have is whoever's ahead of that, in charge of that plant, that's who's seeing it, not the president of the company. But they may have to do that because of union regulations or something like that. So that was a good point out by either Bobby or my child or both of them. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is picket lines at pro-life picket lines. People standing out in front of places that complete abortions, and they're picketing pro-life, choose life, blah, blah, yada, yada. So when we lived in Wichita, there was a huge abortion clinic on Kellogg Road. That's what I took from west side of town to east and back. But especially when I was going to work, headed from west to east, I was driving on the south side of the road. That's where those picketers would be. And I always thought it was interesting that it was between 65 degrees and 75 degrees and pretty much sunny, not too much wind, not too sunny because that could be too bright. So not too much wind, not too sunny, a lot of things kind of going on there. But if that was the case, they would only be out when the nicest weather was out. And so I would be driving back and forth, and if it was 65 to 75 degrees, you would see 35, 40 people out there. And they would generally be like, honk if you're pro-life. Now, I will tell you this. I am pro-choice, okay? I have a penis. If Bobby would have wanted to do something with, if there was a discussion, then I could be involved in the discussion if I was involved in the creation, but ultimately it is not my decision. So I believe in pro-choice. Now, do I believe for the most part, I am more pro-life than I would prefer pro-life. That being said, if it's not my family, I'm not going to get into someone else's business. I'm going to tell you that if I don't ever remember dating any, okay, I didn't really date. I don't even remember ever hooking up with someone that had a child. Why would I do that? When I was single, there would be absolutely no reason for me to do that. I mean, first of all, they probably weren't going to be in a position to get away from the child, whatever. So I can't even. So anyway, but there'll be times when I will honk, even though I am pro-choice. If someone comes to me and you need to pick pro-choice, pro-life, I will pick pro-choice. That's how I will vote. That being said, I will honk for those people that are out there when it is 30 degrees out or 35 degrees out and sleeting, or it's 116 degrees out 4 days in a row. Those two people that are out there during those times, I will honk for them because I admire their commitment. Because it's easy to go out there when it's 65 and sunny. You go out there with your friend, let's go do this. We hold signs. I mean, once again, aren't there more viable options? Say like sending out a tweet. Is it still a tweet because it's X now? Whatever. So social media, I believe that you can make more impact elsewhere than holding a sign like that. But if you are going to hold a sign like that and you do it consistent, doesn't even necessarily have to be consistent. If you don't want to go out on the nice days, you only go out on the shitty days, that's even better. Hey, at least you know someone's there those days. Because I will tell you, I have driven by on days when it's crappy out, and it's like, we care about babies unless the weather's really bad. Then we care about babies. We're just not going to be as in your face about it. Wow, what a way to wrap up this show. And I made it right to an hour again. Okay, so the next show, I believe that there's always going to be an audio-only option. Yes. That get creepy. So there should always be an audio-only option of this show. There will be the next episode, if this old 56-year-old man can figure out the video and how to set it up, and I should be able to, there should be video with it. I will tell you, you might be interested in tuning into the first ever video interview with Tim Lytell. We'll have to see. I have something in mind for the show, an outfit, a costume, perhaps, an outfit. So you may want to at least tune into part of that. And it should be fun. Tim and I, good rapport. I think it'll be a fun show. Anyway, got through 2 pages of notes. I still have like 9. And these are the latest notes. These are just keeping us the most current on current events. I still, and I may have to talk to Tim about some of these notes. That may just be what we have to go over so I can get caught up. Or we don't have to catch up. Maybe those will be for another time. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. You guys know me. My name's Ro. I'm the Stone Genius. I'm up and stone. I'm always a genius. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Talk to you later.
I seen you on Instagram. Enjoy